Hello, my favorite 8th graders. Today, we will taking a refresher on what we took in the Zoom class and what we took in our spelling sheet. We will be talking about colons and semicolons. So we'll start with colons first. What's a colon? A colon is two dots on top of each other, two periods on top of each other. And what do we use it for? We can use it for a number of things. First is we can use it to introduce a list. Then we can use it to separate two complete clauses or independent clauses without the use of fanboys. We could also use it to link complete clauses to a quotation. We can use it to note scripture. We can use it for time, and we can use it to show ratios, as well as we can use it after salutations in a letter or a business memo. So starting with the first, introduction of a list. If you were to look to your left side, here before a list, that is a list that has to be introduced by a complete sentence. You have to put your colon. For example, the reporter interviewed the following people. Then he puts his colon, and then he gives us the list of the people that he introduced, separating them with your normal commas. All right? Second, if we were to use them to separate complete clauses or independent clauses. If we were to look here, it says there was only one way he could win. He had to cheat. Each would be our independent clauses, right? But we have a colon in between them. So if you want to make sure in this case, or if you want to test if you have used your colon right in this case, you can replace your colon with the words that is. So if we were to do that in this sentence, it will be there was only one way he could win. That is, he had to cheat. Then you know if your word makes sense, that if your sentence makes sense, then your colon is in the right place. We can also use colons to link a complete clause to a quotation. For example, here, this is what Plato had to say about mathematicians. Then he gives you the colon, and then he opens his quote. I have hardly ever known a mathematician who is capable of reasoning, and he ends his quote. We can use it in after salutations in a business letter or memo. For example, dear Senator Harkin, or if I were to say dear Kareem, then you put your colons after. Then you say whatever you want to say. We can also use it to note scripture. For example, here they're giving you the Sunday school class studied James chapter 4 verse 10. Same thing in the Quran. You can say you studied Surah Al-Baqarah chapter 1 verse 20, for example. We use it to separate, to depict time, which separates the hours from the minutes. For example, if you want to say, I woke up at 1:30 p.m. today. So it's 1 colon 30, and then you have your p.m. All right. Similarly, if you want to talk about ratios, in the example here we have pour in milk and water at a 3:1 ratio. Here, our colon, if you were to say it out loud, it's a 2 actually. So here you have a total of 4 parts, 3 parts of milk, and 1 part of water. All right? So just an example, we have a sentence here that says, the roads are icy, it is dangerous to drive today. So this is an independent clause, and this is an independent clause, right? So our colon would go here. Moving on to semicolons. Our semicolons are used to also combine sentences. We use them to combine sentences or independent clauses without the use of a conjunction, which are your fanboys. So going back to the same sentence that we used here, the roads are icy, independent. It is dangerous to drive today. But instead of a colon this time, we're going to use a semicolon. If you note the difference between the verbal language of these two sentences, taking the first sentence, the roads are icy, colon, it is dangerous to drive today. You will note that it feels like it's more of a direct speech, or it's more of a concrete speech. While if you note the use of the semicolon in the second sentence, if we say the roads are icy, semicolon, it's dangerous to drive today, you are kind of phrasing it gentler, or you're giving it in a more conversational type of way, right? So it's up to you which one you want to use. It depends on the language that you are using in your writing. All right. We also use semicolons to combine independent clauses with a conjunctive adverb. For example, like however, indeed, thus, and still. Right? So if we were to look here in our conjunctive adverbs, we have the example, Jane likes fruit. However, she does not like apples. So we have our semicolon coming here before our conjunctive adverb. All right? Another way we can use semicolons, which is the third way, is to separate a list with commas already in it. So if you have a comma already in your list, and you cannot be separating your units on the list using comma again, because it's just going to be confusing, right? If we are looking at this example here, you have the school specializes in 3 fields of study. Economics, the study of economy. Then you have your semicolon. Philosophy, the study of thought, semicolon. And anthropology, the study of mankind. So economics, the study of economy here, is 1 unit in your list. Then philosophy, the study of thought, is the 2nd unit. And then you have here the 3rd unit. If you notice, within each unit, we have already a comma, because here you're explaining what economics is, right? So here you say economics, the study of economy. Then you're done with your 1st unit. When you want to introduce your 2nd unit, you put a semicolon. Then you say philosophy, colon, and you explain what philosophy is, which is the study of thought. Then you have your semicolon again before the word and, if you want. And then you have anthropology, comma, the study of mankind, because you're explaining what anthropology is, all right? So if we were to do the first, or let's start with the 2nd sentence. You have a group, the group was composed of 3 young people. So here we're going to state a list, right? So you start with your colon first. Mary, comma, who was 23 years old. Then here is where you would place your semicolon. Javier, who was 28 years old. And then if you want, you have your semicolon here. Then you have An Ming, who was 17 years old. If we were to do the answers to the test are 1, and then you have A, and then you have 2, comma, D, then you have 3, comma, F, and 4B. So if you want to think about this, you have a test with multiple choice questions, right? You have question 1, question 2, question 3, and so on. Each of these tests has A, B, each of these questions has A, B, C, D. Similarly, A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D, right? So here, your question 1, the answer is A. So A here goes to 1, so you put your semicolon after. In question 2, your answer will be D, and then you have your semicolon after. And then in question 3, it's F, and for question 4, it's B. So your comma here is depicting that when it's question 1, the answer is A. So to separate those, you put semicolon in between. Because if you were to do it with commas, for example, it will be 1, comma A, comma 2, comma D, comma 3, comma F, and 4, comma B. Each one of them will seem like it's an answer on its own instead of relating A to 1. I hope you understand with that. I thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to approach me or Miss Hind. Thank you and bye!